Hey everyone! Today we're diving into a topic that is, let's be honest, a total nightmare for any small business owner. What on earth do you do when a client just doesn't pay? Well, don't worry, we're going to walk through a clear game plan to get that money in your bank account. You know the feeling, right? You've poured your heart into the work, you delivered on time, you sent the invoice, and then crickets. Just total silence. Being ghosted by a client isn't just rude, it's a serious business problem. And let's be really clear here, this is way more than just an annoyance. For a small business, one single unpaid invoice can be a massive hit to your cash flow. It's not just about the money you're owed, it's about the time you burn chasing it and the stress that comes with it. But here's the good news, there is a proven playbook for this exact situation. We are going to break down a step-by-step recovery plan from that first gentle email all the way to the final legal options, so you will always know exactly what to do next. Okay, first things first. Before we jump to any conclusions or start firing off angry emails, we're going to start with a simple professional nudge. The goal here is to get paid, but also, if possible, keep that client relationship in one piece. So before you hit send on anything, just do a quick sanity check on your end. Are you sure the invoice went to the right person? Was the due date crystal clear? Are your bank details correct? You'd be amazed how often a late payment is really just an honest mistake. Once you've confirmed all your details are right, send a message just like this one. Take a look at the tone. It's super casual, it's friendly, it assumes the best, and it gives the client a really easy way out if they genuinely just forgot. A lot of the time, this one email is all it takes. So what happens if that friendly nudge gets you nowhere? Well, now it's time to escalate, and the absolute key here is to stay professional. We're about to turn up the heat a little bit, but we're going to do it politely. This next email has a slightly different feel. You're still being polite, of course, but the language gets a bit more direct. We're shifting from that just checking in vibe to a very clear, this payment is now officially overdue message. And this is where you can bring in some serious leverage. If your original contract had a clause for late fees, and it definitely should, now's the time to mention it. This isn't a threat, you're just reminding them of the terms they already agreed to, and it gives them a very real financial incentive to pay you, and pay you now. Okay, if you're still getting radio silence, it's time to pick up the phone. It's really easy to ignore an email. It's a lot harder to ignore a phone call. Remember, the goal isn't to start a fight, it's to find out what's going on. Maybe they're having their own money troubles. Be ready to talk about a payment plan. Getting some of the money is way better than getting none of it. If calls and emails have completely failed, your next move is a formal letter demanding payment. This is a big step up. This isn't just another email. This is a structured, official document that lays out the whole story, the debt, all your attempts to collect, and a final firm deadline. This tells the client you are not messing around anymore. All right, so at this point, you've done everything right. You've been professional, you've been persistent, and they still haven't paid. This is where we start heading down the legal route. Now, don't let that phrase scare you. It's a structured, pretty manageable process, and it is absolutely your right to pursue it. Now, this is a really critical distinction to understand. That formal letter we just talked about, that's a strong warning that comes from you. But a letter before action is a specific legal document. It's the final required step you have to take before you can file a court claim, and it has to follow official rules. Messing this up can actually damage your case. So what happens if even the letter before action is ignored? Your next move is to issue a court claim. For a lot of smaller debts, believe it or not, this is something you can actually do yourself online. Yeah, there's a fee, but the process is pretty accessible. That said, for bigger or more complicated debts, getting a bit of legal advice at this point is a really smart move. And here is probably the most important piece of advice in this entire explainer, and it applies to every single step. Document everything. Every email, every invoice, every note from every phone call. If you end up in court, a judge doesn't care about your story, they care about your proof. Your organized records are your best weapon. Okay, once all the dust settles on this particular invoice, it's time to switch from being reactive to being proactive. Let's talk about how to future-proof your business, so you're much less likely to end up in this mess again. Think of these points as your financial suit of armor. Always, and I mean always, use a written contract. Ask for a deposit before you lift a finger, and make absolutely sure your terms include that interest clause for late payments. This isn't about being difficult, it's about being a savvy professional business owner. After hearing all this, you might be thinking, gosh, is all that effort really worth it? Well, let's look at a quick real-world example that answers that question with a huge yes. Just look at this number, £6,000. This was an invoice that a small business owner had basically given up on. They were ready to just write it off as a bad debt. Yeah, this is the story of a business owner named Liz. She was owed this money for 6 long months and just didn't know what to do. But after following these steps, specifically sending that formal letter demanding payment, the client paid in full within a week. That is the power of having a process. And that's really the core message here. Don't let your frustration or fear make you give up on the money you've rightfully earned. Chasing an invoice isn't personal. It's just a necessary part of keeping your business healthy and thriving. Persistence pays, and your clients should too. So as we wrap up, I want you to think about this. Based on everything we've just covered, what is the one single change you can make in your business, starting today, to better protect yourself from late payments in the future? Thanks for joining me.